give to people who have decided to stay to the end of the session or the end of the conference. All right. So if we have the Honorable Commissioner, guys, I don't know if he's here. We'll be happy to have Dr. Seun Fakorede join us. All right. If he's here, we're happy to have him now.
Yeah, I think I'm here.
Hey, my darling Honorable. Yes. The man that we are proud of. The only young youth that is making us to be worthy, to be proud of being in Nigeria. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Bless God.
Honestly, I think I've not had the opportunity to commend your good work, but I want to say thank you. I'm always proud. Anyway, thank you for doing amazing stuff. Thank you for telling others that indeed it is possible to be young, to get it right, to add value. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my dear brother. I mean, it's always a privilege to work together, to work with you. I know that it's been a number of years that this relationship has actually been going on. And I'm happy that today, I mean, we still look at each other and, bless God for the times, that we started off this relationship. There's been no regrets whatsoever. And it's a beautiful one that, each and every one of us are actually doing good in our respective field. And that's also a testament to the fact that we all as youths, I mean, so long we remain consistent, we can actually do a number of great stuff. So I want to greet everybody in the house. I want to appreciate you for joining this conference. I mean, it's only a testament to the fact that you're actually serious about the future. You're actually, serious about your life, and you actually want to make a good meaning out of life. And I particularly like the theme of this conference, this year's conference, which is, raising global self-reliant, youth. And that resonates because if there's anything I do, even from, my personal, my non-profit, one of the things that we're actually very big on is the fact that we want people to conquer their locality so that they can, become exportable materials, so that they can actually go ahead to conquer the world. Because it is when you conquer your locality, that we will be able to get a lot of things, done. Someone was asking that they can hear me. Can we hear me?
We can hear you clearly. We can hear you. So probably the person has to check their network or something.
Oh, good. So one of the core objectives of this non-for-profit is conquer your locality, conquer the world. Because we believe that until you conquer your locality, that's when you become an exportable material. And I believe so strongly that the number of lessons that we've seen, that we've learned, that actually makes it very, very, very relatable to know that these things are not rocket science. I joined this session, I think around some 15 minutes past 6. And what I've heard, they are just the utmost truth. Because, if you want to build a global brand, if you want to build a self-reliance brand, you have to be deliberate about, a number of things. You have to be conscious about a number of things. But for today, because of our time, because I'm very, very sure that we have, a very limited time, I'm only going to pick one of these things, to talk about. And I'm going to be talking about relationships. Many people just think that when we talk about relationships, it's just, it's just one of those things. But the truth is practically everything. I'm very, very sure that you'd have heard them say everything rises and falls on leadership. But I want to say that everything rises and falls on relationships, because leadership is a form of relationship, a relationship between the leader and the followers. So in anywhere, in any position we find ourselves, in any gathering network that we find ourselves. One of the beautiful things for us to look at or look up to is building viable relationships, connecting with people, because you really never know when you would need them. I mean, myself, my relationship with Mr. Mayowa now has been a long-standing one, and that's why he can actually just confirm my attendance for this event via text. I mean, it might be difficult for anybody else to just do that if there was not a proper relationship, because it's difficult for you to just jump on any platform to say you're speaking. You have to know the mindset of the author. You have to know the mindset of the organizer, the convener, and to be sure that it aligns with yours, because I don't want to come speak on someone else's platform and I'm sharing principles, I'm sharing values that doesn't sit right with that of the organizers. It is going to cause chaos. And I would not want to do that. So that's why it's always, I'm always very particular in knowing the mindset of the convener to say, okay, look, and to see that do I identify with this person's value, so that I can know that, okay, yes, I am in the right place to actually dispense the knowledge and the information that I have. So a number of things. I remember vividly in 2019 when I was appointed Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports in Oyo State. As at then, I was 27, and I was the youngest in the history of Nigeria to ever be appointed commissioner as at that time. Today, I'm still perhaps the youngest serving commissioner today. And since 2019, it's been a very, very interesting journey. I remember then when I was appointed, some people said, oh, youth, what can a 27-year-old guy do? Let's give him 6 months. Let's give him 1 year. Maybe 2 years. But to the glory of God now, this year is going to make it the 4th year that I've actually been a commissioner. And not just 4 years of being idle, or 4 years of being docile. This is 4 years of highly impactful administration as a commissioner. And the results are there. And I tell people that, look, in that office, ever in the history of the office of the Commissioner for Youth and Sport, I'm the youngest in that office, and the achievements that I have today, let them put together the achievements of the past 3 commissioners. They still wouldn't match what we've been able to do within these 3+ years that we've actually been there, even as the youth. So that's why it's important for each and every one of us to know that in life, you have to take a number of things very seriously. And everything is also a function of how you actually consider yourself, how you actually see yourself, how you actually carry yourself. It's very, very important that you carry yourself well, you appraise yourself well, so that you can be able to now, give yourself back, to the world with that, premium that you have. I tell people that it's not a function of age, and that is why you should not look down on yourself that maybe there's still time. After all, I'm just 25. After all, I'm just 30 years old. After all, I'm 32, I'm 33, I'm 35. I'm not 40 yet, because what they say is a fool at 40. So, you believe that because you're not 40 yet, it means that you can be permitted to do a number of things and then you get away with it. But the moment you are 40, you now begin to take life seriously. No, it doesn't have to be, like that. The age of Methuselah has nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. And in anything that we do, we should always make sure that we don't act that age that we are. A lot of people, we're always quick to say, oh, that person is a young leader. That person is a young entrepreneur. That person is a young engineer. That person is a young doctor. a young pastor. There's nothing like that. A pastor is a pastor as long as there is that calling and there's that anointing, because there's nothing like a young anointing. So we say, oh, because the anointing or the miracles that this pastor is performing is a young miracle because he's a young pastor or is a young prophet. There's nothing like that. A prophet is a prophet. A professor is a professor, nothing like a young professor, because the same thesis, the same exam, the same theory that the young, so-called young professor had to write is the same one that the older ones wrote before they became professors. So the fact that he has the privilege, because of this new dispensation, he had the privilege to become professor in his late 20s or in his early 30s, doesn't make him different from the man that became a professor at 50 or at 60. It's just the fact that the world is changing, and a lot of mileage, a lot of traction, a lot of milestone that people actually get at an older age. People are beginning to achieve it at a younger age, just like my story. I mean, it was rare for you to have a commissioner who was 20 something, but it happened in my time. But the fact that it happened to my time doesn't make me a young commissioner. There's nothing like the office of the young commissioner. A commissioner is a commissioner. And what I do in that office, I don't act of a 27-year-old who was appointed. I act the responsibility. And that responsibility is the responsibility of a commissioner. I remember, at an event, when I came in 2019, when they want to introduce me to speak or to do something, I said, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the young commissioner. And one day I was invited and I picked the mic and I said, I am not a young commissioner. I am the commissioner for youth and sport, because whatever an older person as commissioner is exactly what I want. So, we shouldn't water the potency of this office. We shouldn't water the potency of this particular career, by adding, young to it to make it look like, oh, there's a difference between commissioners and young commissioners. And that's, is applicable to all our fields. We have a lot of tech bros, tech, girls all over the place. We have a lot of, doctors that are actually doing exploit at a very, very young age, a lot of consultants, a lot of engineers, a lot of, lawyers, that are even becoming, SAN at a very young age. There's nothing like young senior advocate of, Nigeria. A senior advocate is a senior advocate. So we should always bear that in mind, and that is going to help us to know whatever we are doing. If you are into tech, if you are into IT, you are into programming, and you write codes, you're into robotics, you're into all that. There's nothing like young, coding. There's nothing like writing codes for the young people. No, whatever, the same Facebook that I use, the same Instagram that I use, the same Zoom that I use is the same one that my dad, who is over 60, uses. Somebody who is 70, if he has to jump on a Zoom call to have a family gathering, a reunion with family or with work people or with all students, like that. When they jump, there's no Zoom for older people. There's no Zoom Facebook for the younger generation and Facebook for the older generation. We use the same. So that's to tell you that, look, in whatever we do, make sure that you just do it the way it ought to be, and don't be blinded. Don't be limited by your age, saying that, oh, there's still time. After all, I'm still a young boy. No, don't give that excuse. I tell people that excuses are good reasons for bad results. So irrespective of how good the excuses are, they will never bring about the result. I said something to a number of people that have the privilege to listen to me, especially when I became commissioner. I said, I'm going to try as much as possible to make sure that I do things in the right way, because I don't want to fail. And I don't want a situation where people will say, oh, maybe it's because he's a young boy or he's a small boy. No, I'm not going to do that. I want to do what is expected of me. And it is everywhere. everyone can actually see it, that because I know that I'm actually holding the fort for a number of youths out there, because I know that, I mean, the older generation, if I fail, they are going to be quick to say, oh, maybe we gave one of them, Seun Fakorede, an opportunity, and look at what happened. So because I know that a lot of, the generation coming, a lot of people in my own generation, this position that I'm holding it in trust, for them, so that, I mean, they can rather give a good, mention that, after all, why do you say we can't do it as youth? We had one of us there, Shun Fakorede, and it did so well. So if there's any reason, I mean, we have all the reasons to say that, I mean, we are capable and we can actually do it and even do it better. I know. And with that, you are definitely, I mean, the sky is just the limit. The sky is just the limit. So that's why, I tell each and every one of us that, look, in whatever we do, let us make sure that we strive for the best. And you are not limited by your community. It's a good thing that the internet has actually broken the walls of partition, today, that, whatever you are doing, you cannot afford to be a local champion anymore. You cannot, because whatever you are doing in Nigeria, whatever you are doing in Ibadan, whatever you are doing in Lagos, the moment it gets onto the internet, it has become a global product. Anybody can view it, from all over the world. I mean, we have music that is being made, by local Nigerians, that they are listening to it, or they are streaming it all over the world. So that kind of project, that kind of product, it is not a local product anymore. It has become a global, product that is available for consumption anywhere in the world. So that's why, if you are making music now, I mean, you have to make music with the mindset that, look, you know what, this thing is going to travel, beyond the borders, beyond the shores of wherever you are. Whatever you are doing, you should be ready to make sure that it's something that can actually test, the value, standard in other countries that, we have. So you have to be able to think very, very deeply. I mean, necessarily don't need to think, outside the box. Don't, box yourself. The thinking space is an infinite space. So there's nothing like, no, don't even go into any box. Don't let anybody put you into any box, and you don't have to struggle to think outside the box. Just think. Just think. You have the whole world to just, think. And also, don't box yourself. Don't struggle to think. Just give yourself that, opportunity to freely think. And, by the special grace of God, no matter what, because value in Nigeria is value everywhere. Value is not relative. I mean, value, just like the truth, is absolute. So the fact that I'm a man, in Nigeria today, it's impossible for me to get to UK, and then geography or, change of environment will now make me a woman or make me an hermaphrodite. It is impossible, because the truth about me is that what? I'm a man. So that's the same thing as value. If you are a valuable person, change continents, change environments, you will still become, valuable. Now you can apply or change the means of dispensing that value, or the means of applying that value. The application might differ, but the most important thing is that you should be able to still find, a bearing anywhere that you are in the world. Just last year, by the special grace of God, I mean, I just got an email earlier in the year nominating me for a particular category of, an award, a global award, like that. And, we're just two that were nominated in the whole of Africa, that were meant to represent the African continent. And they shortlisted the 15 of us to 5. And I was part of that 5 again. And eventually, I was invited to Manchester in London to receive the award, being the only Nigerian, being the only African, to out of the 5. To other, 5 out of the 4, awardees to are from different continents, like that, America, Asia, and all. But the most important thing is that if I did not work hard enough to conquer my locality, it would have been difficult for me to get that kind of global recognition. So that's why it's always good. Yes, we all want to start big. We all want to start large. We all want to start, being a giant. But the truth is this, I mean, even in the history of the Bible, the man that started big from the beginning actually failed at the end of the day. And that was Adam. Adam, did not have to go through the process of crawling. Adam did not have to go through the process of staggering to, walk. He was a man from the beginning. And, if we are going to look at a number of things, everything is a function of process. Even Jesus Christ, who is our perfect example, today, did not come in as a man, like a woman, like, okay, he just appeared in the desert, and then they just say, "Oh, who is this?" They say, "That is the, Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world." No, he had to come in flesh. He had to come, to be given birth to, and he went through the process of growth. So that's why it's important, for each and every one of us to know that, look, that process of growth, it's very, very, important, and just follow that growth and not be too much in a hurry. Now, I'm going to share this in closing, and I believe that it's going to, really help us. The number of us, as much as we all want you, when you go to events, they say, "Oh, start, oh, do this, oh, go for it, oh, launch into this and all." As much as those things are valid and very, very correct, you should also understand the times and the season, when you ought to go out, when you ought to start out. This sensitive. I mean, it's going to be very, very wrong for a man that got the call of God to say, "Okay, you have been called into the pastoral," and the next morning the person is looking for the next available venue to start a church. I mean, our guy just received the call yesterday and he wants to start a church today. Such a church might fail because of the fact that, look, you have not even gone through, the tenets and the principle of, knowing what it takes to actually, pastor a church. It's not like I say, okay, maybe you've been in that, space and no, you just got the call and immediately you're looking for church and you're looking for members. Okay, when you get these members, what do you want to feed them, with? So that's why it's very, very important, like the sons of Issachar, to understand the times and the season, when to set out, when, to abound and when to abase. And I close with this. I mean, they say a man of God will always close, like, 5 times. When they say I'm closing, they don't close. So it will take like maybe the next 4 to 5 years. So I hope this is the last, closure. And it's the story of Jesus Christ that I want to, say. At age 12, I said Jesus Christ, was at the temple. He was, actually rolling with the elders, the doctors of law. The Bible called them the nomodidaskalos. They are actually very, very skilled, with the law. They understand the law. They are doctors of the law. So they are experts, they are masters. And, Jesus Christ was engaging them. And all of them, they were just looking that, who is this small boy at age 12? Who is actually unraveling the mysteries that we are even yet to understand about the scriptures to us. And they were all of them, their jaws were dropping. Who is this guy? Jesus Christ, his parents were looking for him. And, like, where is this guy? Where is this guy? Until they got to the temple and they saw the people listening to him. Immediately they went to him and whisked him away. That, Makobawa. I mean, at this young age, people seeing what you are dispensing and all, before you know it, they will kill you. You will die, untimely. And, that is what happens when you expose yourself prematurely. It can actually lead to your destruction. It can lead to your death, in some cases. And they whisked him away and they left that community. Do you know that between that age 12, the next time Jesus Christ appeared was at age 30? So, and when he appeared at 30, they said Jesus Christ was growing in stature, he was growing in wisdom, he was growing in, favor with God and with man. Do you get? So it means that, there's a time that, it is for preparation. So Jesus Christ, between that 12 and 30, the only thing he was doing was he was learning carpentry. And the Bible described that, learning carpentry, even at that carpentry work, he was very good. He was, a professional. They described him as he was called a tectone. A tectone. A tectone means he's a master of that particular, trade. I know. So, but at 30, he came back because he has learned a lot. He has grown as a man. He has seen things as a man. He has, he understood a number of workings of the heart. And it means that, from 0 to 30, he had to build himself up to actually fulfill a ministry or to carry out a ministry of 3 years, because he died at 33. So what am I saying? There's a process to all these things. There's a particular time for building yourself up, for training yourself, for equipping yourself with the right knowledge and the right skills so that you can function well. When I was appointed a commissioner at 27, it was not at 27 that I started learning about leadership, that I started, following, people to learn, from them. That was not when I started, going to the market. So let me go to booksellers. Let me go to Bible Wonderland. Let me go and get John C. Maxwell's books on leadership. No, that was not the time. I have been building myself up. So you have to be building yourself up because you never know when that time will come. So by the time, the opportunity comes, it meets you prepared. That's not when you're running out as skater to come and start learning, one thing or the other. If not, you will fail, because the time available for you it is only sufficient for application. It is not sufficient, enough for learning. You are going to be applying more than you are learning. Now that, you might not have any particular thing that is taking, so it is, the time to learn more and little applications, here and there. But by the time you get that big break, it is application that is going to be more than learning. You might not really have the time to read, 60 books like you used to read every year anymore. Not because you are not willing to read, but because the truth is the time is not there. So you might not be able to do maybe just 20 instead of 60, but at least you are still trying as much as possible that the more people drink from your system, you are still, trying to get more water, into it. So I hope that, with these very, very few analogies and, talk of mine, I've been able to confuse us. I'm joking, convince us. So once again, thank you very much, Mr. Mayowa, for this privilege to be part of this conference.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my honorable. Yvette, you said a lot of quotes have gone out already. Let me just read out some. Thank you so much. Let me just read out some. Somebody had a question in the group. Of course, I'm going to be. You can just help us take that question, but I just want to share this so that more like a quick recap. All right. Everything is a function of process. Everything is a function of process. Thank you for sharing that. The Dr. Seun Fakorede himself also said that everything rises and falls on relationship. Everything rises and falls on relationship. These are wonderful. Excuses are good reason for bad result. I think I've heard you say that over time, and anytime you say that, I'm always connecting. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so I think I'll just summarize this person's question. Right, this person is saying that. What did you do differently, that got you to where you are today? Would you say there is something in particular that you did, or how were you able to do that really, that got you this position and all of that? Is it that you position yourself in a certain way in terms of branding, like we mentioned branding earlier and all of that? So what are the things you did that got you here?
Okay, so sincerely, I mean, it's just a combination of a number of little steps. So for me, right from when I was in school, I mean, a lot of people that know me since when I was in school, they can actually testify to the fact that I was actually very deliberate, and I've been very, very consistent in the line that I am for years. So if there's anything at all, I never knew that at 27, it wasn't crystal clear to me that I was going to become a commissioner, but I knew right from time that I had this strong mandate, strong calling into governance, but I never knew what time it was going to come. So I was just, being focused, building up myself, availing myself to opportunities to serve. I mean, the Bible says that he who is going to be the greatest amongst you, let him first of all be the servant of all. So if there's anything, I made sure that, I made myself available, for service. I was serving in church. I was serving as a student, via the student union. I was doing a number of things. I had a not-for-profit, an NGO that was doing conferences everywhere. And these conferences are free. So I labor, I work hard for money, I save up only for me to expend it on conferences. And that's why, for people like, Mr. Mayowa, it's easy for me to relate, with them, because I know that these are men that they will make money from projects, from business, only to come and expend it on conferences at no cost, a number of times. Before they tell you to say they want you to pay for something, a number of times it's just because they felt like, okay, you know what, let's also, let these people have some sort of, commitment in form of fees, so that they don't just see everything as, freebies and all. But even what you are paying, a number of times, it doesn't even cover the kind of, value that they're actually, putting on the table, for you. So one thing that is actually very, very special, one thing that I can say that it really made me stand out is I was consistent. A number of us today will try something, and even in business, we try a business for 3 months because you have not started seeing profits, and then you just assume that the business cannot work. But the number of people will tell you, a lot of these businesses that are thriving today, some of them, it took them 2 years, some of them, it took them 3 years, it took them even more before they became, a global asset, today. So don't easily give up. In fact, when you are going into a business, you should have a timetable that and that's the different thing, between all of us. I remember I shared this story very, very many years ago, that I know a number of friends that wanted to go into e-commerce. And e-commerce, shop online and stuff, even before the advent of the Jumias and the Kongas of this world. But, some of them couldn't do it, couldn't go through because of the fact that, they lack, capital, and a number of them were expecting profit to start coming at a particular time, and they were not seeing, profit. But when Jumia and Konga, I'm not sure which of them came first into Nigeria. I remember it's Jumia also. And when they came with, very, very, crazy publicity. So they know that, and that's a lesson for each and every one of us. There's someone I follow so well too. His name is Tribe Masiriwa. He's not, a Nigerian. And, he said something. That's one thing about we Africans, is that you alone want to be the CEO. You alone want to be the chief marketing officer. You alone want to be the HR. You alone want to be everything in your business. It cannot work, that way. So you actually have to learn to delegate responsibilities. You actually even have to learn to even bring people on board to come and, be a part of, such businesses. Because, you're always just so interested that, let them, I am the chief executive officer of this business. But the truth is this, I'm the founder of this business. But the truth is this, because you know that, yes, truly you are the founder. But unfortunately, your founder doesn't have money. You don't have money. But there's somebody that has money that can actually, and is willing to come into this business.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to that person to say that, okay, come, let's run this business together. Come in as a co-founder. And as a co-founder, I'm just going to give you about maybe 15% of this business. You're a co-founder, but I'm just giving you 15% of this business. And he brings his money, or she brings her money, and you guys put it together. It is better to have 1% of something than to have 100% of nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely.
It is, but a number of us will always want to sit on 100% of nothing. Bring people on board. You can have 3 co-founders, you can have 4, you can have 2. You can be co-founder and chief executive officer. The other person can be co-founder and chief financial officer. I mean, but the lines are actually very different. And it is what you people have in shares that actually differentiates, who from, who. So it's important for us to be that, deliberate. But to answer that question specifically, I would say that it is focus and it is consistency, staying on that same path to make sure that I was not doing all those things I was doing so that I can become, I never even knew that this was going to come. I was just focused, doing the things that I was doing. And I mean, the opportunity met me in the place of preparation. And the rest is history today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my dear Honorable. Let's just take one more in less than 2 minutes, and then we can go into the breakout session. So this is also directed. I have about 4 different questions for you, but I'll just take one, all right, because of our time. So this one says, how have you been able to overcome the Nigeria barriers and mindsets about youth leadership, especially in our political sector? Let me take that again. How have you been able to overcome the Nigeria, in quote, barriers and mindset about youth leadership, especially in our political sector?
Well, so I would not say that I've been able to overcome, them, because they keep representing themselves every time, every day. But what I've been able to do is I've been able to brace myself up to be able to handle it in the best way possible. Now, that community that we have, it's a the political community is a very, very interesting one in Nigeria. But just like I said earlier during my presentation, is that I don't ask my age and I don't allow anybody to take advantage of me. You get? I know the lines. The lines are very clear. Whatever is my right, whatever is my duty, I will discharge it to the best of my ability. And I'm not going to let anybody rob me of my expression. Do you get? So everything I do, I make sure that, I do it to the latter. If they say that, a commissioner is entitled to speak here, I will speak there. If they say a commissioner is entitled to sit here, I'm not going to let anybody hijack my seats, with all due respect. And I'm going to share a particular story with you. There was a time that, I had the opportunity to work with one of my, brothers, and, it was running for an office in Lagos then. I was privileged to be the one to put together the structure for the campaign. And there was a meeting that we were going to go for. And I was much younger that time. Maybe I was 23 or 24. I just left, school. And I was going to enter with that meeting with him. And the elderly man, a party stakeholder, and I said, I can't enter. That I should wait for them at the lobby. And I said, sir, I'm sorry. This person is my candidate. I am the one directing the affairs of this campaign. And also, if he's going to go in, I have to go in with him. And if I'm not going, it means he's not going. I'm sorry, sir. And the man looked at me that I'm very sure in his mind that who is this small boy? Like, don't you have respect for elders? I'm very sure that's what will be going on in his mind. But this is not about respect for elders. This is about responsibility. Because if I had actually stayed back and not entered, with my person who was running for office, I would have failed my responsibility. And that was why I said we don't act our age, we act the responsibility. The responsibility that I had then is the responsibility of the Director General of a campaign. So, and if you are the DG of a campaign, anywhere the candidate is entering into, you have to go there with your candidates. You have to make sure that you ensure, because you are the one that you are going to protect the interest of your candidate. You are going to protect, everything that. So, and if there are take-homes from there, you are the one that will make sure that those take-homes are discharged, accordingly. So it's just like, a lawyer. Your lawyer is entitled to, know everything particular that concerns in a particular case. You can't hide anything from your lawyer. The way Yorubas will say.
Yeah.
So, and that is the place of the DG of that campaign. And the man said I should go in. Just imagine I was not vocal enough. Just imagine I was not sure about I did not disrespect the elderly man. I just made him understand what he did not understand. That look, I'm not going to stay. I know that you said I should go and sit in lobby because you think I'm a small boy. No, but look, I am a small boy that knows what exactly he is doing and what is expected to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my honorable. You've been very helpful. I wish we had more time for your session. We'll just keep going. And a lot of questions just keep trooping in and all of that. But of course, we can't take all of the questions today.